Alrighty, guys, it's not award season, actually. The award season, generally speaking, for movies and television, is early on in the year, February, March-ish, but the Emmys are a notable exception. The Emmy nominations have just come out, and normally, well, we've only been doing the podcast daily for the last, weekly, I suppose, but with daily segments for the last year or so, but generally I don't pay attention to the Emmys too much because I just hadn't been watching as much television, but this past year I've been watching a little bit more, and so I wanted to talk about some of the interesting things coming out of the Emmys for this year, for 2025. So let's go through. This is the 77th Emmys, and just talk about a couple of highlights here. We're not going to go through every single category like we did with the Oscars. I haven't seen nearly as many shows as proportionally as I did with the movies for the Oscars, but still I've seen enough to kind of have some thoughts here. So first of all, The Studio and Severance, two shows that I actually did see, leading the nominations here with Severance with 27 nominations and The Studio with 23. Severance, I think, is no surprise to me, because Severance is just that show that seems to be taking over pop culture in that way, where and it's good. I'm good, subjectively, but I think that it's most people recognize that, understand its significance in pop culture, but also really like the show, and I think that that's leading to its nominations. And then The Studio is interesting because I know that the Emmys aren't necessarily a popularity contest, but it kind of seems like it sometimes, at least with these big award shows. And so, The Studio, I wasn't sure if enough people had caught on to the buzz of The Studio because, look, I mean, it's not the funniest show that I've ever seen. It's not the most entertaining show that I've ever seen. I really had a good time watching it. And it's just, it's one of those shows where if you love movies and if you love TV, it's so fun to watch the behind the scenes satire and spoofing of all of it. And so I'm really glad personally to have seen The Studio get those 23 nominations. Let's see here. The Bear also got nominated quite a bit, as per usual. But the other couple interesting things to note here. First of all, The Last of Us was nominated as well, Last of Us Season 2. But what's interesting about The Last of Us Season 2 being nominated is that Pedro Pascal was nominated for lead actor. And I think, right, spoilers for The Last of Us Season 2, I thought The Last of Us Season 2 was a mixed bag, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not really sure how they get us back on board with Season 3. I'm going to obviously watch Season 3, but it's going to be interesting. But Pedro Pascal's performance in it was phenomenal in my eyes. Especially Episode 6 for him, phenomenal. But he was nominated for Best Lead Actor. And I just don't agree with that. He was not in this show. I get it that he's on all the posters with Bella Ramsey and whatnot. He's not the lead actor of this season. Bella Ramsey is a lead actress, for sure. But Pedro Pascal is not a lead in this season. Someone pointed out, I think it was Dan Merrill pointed out, he's in 3 out of 7 episodes. That in itself, objectively speaking, because regardless of presence and whatnot, character arcs and things like that, character importance, just objectively, he's not in the show that much. And that's okay. I would have loved to have seen him get nominated for lead supporting actor, and I think he would have had a good shot, at least just in my opinion, but it's kind of crazy. So anyways, there's that. Harrison Ford also got nominated for Shrinking Season 2. That's amazing. Shrinking Season 2 is, first of all, one of my favorite seasons of TV in a while. Shrinking is just one of my favorite shows in a while. And Harrison Ford has never been better, I think, in as he is in Shrinking. And so I'm really happy for him for that. Jason Segel also getting nominated as well. One of the things that is also interesting is that Andor got nominated for lead drama series, I believe, but which is huge, by the way. It's almost like a Star Wars movie getting nominated for Best Picture in the TV world. But none of the cast got nominated, which is sad. I think Diego Luna definitely had a shot, Adria Arjona as well, and then Stellan Skarsgård. So it's kind of sad that they didn't get nominated for that. The Penguin has a lot of nominations as well. Penguin with Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti. The Penguin is getting a lot of buzz here, as it should, by the way. I think it's really good to see that these kinds of shows, The Studio and Severance, for example, of being those kind of flashy shows that people glob onto, but also the comic book shows, the Star Wars shows, really being recognized. And it's a little disappointing that the actors for Andor were not recognized as well, but I still think it's a really big win that Andor itself got nominated for Best Lead Series, and The Penguin is getting a lot of love, it looks like, with these awards. So overall, it's this is a very quick segment here, but highlighting that, again, I don't have, enough of the knowledge. I haven't seen enough of the shows to go through, this actor got snubbed and this show got snubbed. White Lotus also got a lot of nominations as well. But really, I wanted to take this time to just highlight that there are a lot of good shows that came out. I watched a few of them, and I'm really happy for Andor. I'm really happy for Severance, Shrinking, The Penguin, The Studio, a lot of really fun television shows that had come out over the last year. Interestingly, Squid Game Season 2 was not nominated for anything, I think, which is interesting. Even if you didn't like Squid Game Season 2, I would have thought that some of the acting categories it would have gotten nominated for and whatnot. So we'll see how Season 3 fares next year, but yeah, kind of an interesting thing there. So guys, those were some of the highlights from the Emmy nominations. What do you think about all of that? Let me know in the comments down below.